I think you can argue it both ways. I feel very privileged that when I was at an annual meeting of one of our managers yesterday. I was one the day before. And when I'm there learning about the portfolio, looking at the entrepreneurs, looking at the investors in the room and what they can contribute to help de-risk these companies, it does make me very hopeful. But there are capital gaps, and we'll get into talking about this. But what makes me, John Doerr has written this book. And when I've sat with him, he says, not a book, it's a plan, and called Speed and Scale. And it is what we need. And it's very thoughtful, and there's a new version of it coming out, updating it for everything going on. But what gives me hope is that, part of this requires enormous coordination, and Woven Earth Ventures is dealing with one little Lego, link in this. We have to build all these pathways and bridges. So the hopeful part is governments are engaging, corporations are engaging, consumers and communities are engaging and demanding, as stakeholders. There are incubators. I mean, I didn't even know there's an incubator and accelerator just devoted to water tech. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago, which is really exciting. And then there are strategics in the water tech space who are building a whole ecosystem around that. So we've got, there's places like Elemental and Y Combinator and Third Derivative and Greentown Labs. So that's very exciting. We have philanthropists, like some of the people on this call, that are really committed to this space. We have universities who are building out big programs. So how that all gets fit together in the most efficacious way is still what we're all working on, but it is definitely a groundswell, and it's all these and when I say governments, it's federal, state, local. It's not all going exactly the way we'd like it to, but there is enough momentum that a lot of building can take place. And really interesting issues as we do this, Lori, that thinking our history around the energy, energy is the largest source of our greenhouse gas problem. And there are lots of legacy equity issues around our history. And I think one of the things that a lot of us are really excited about is the Inflation Reduction Act and the big, huge impact that has for scaling and speed. Is in the design of that is a lot of intention around two things. One is equity and just transition as we make all this change. And there's design aspects of it in there. And then another important thing that brings jobs to the US and manages some of our geopolitical risk is, China really controls the supply chain for wind, solar, and batteries right now. And so it's not just a semiconductor story. So the IRA really rewards domesticating supply chains and closing the loop on supply chains. So really helping support battery recycling and other things so that as we make these big investments now, hopefully those investments will be more sustainable and more equitable going forward than when they necessarily were in the past.